Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, and today I figured I'd bring you guys a quick little guide on all of the new options in patch 4.0, update 4.0, whatever you want to call it. There are a bunch of new updates to the UI in Battlefield 2042 and how you can change things. So this is what you're going to want to do when you boot up the game here. I'm just going to walk you guys through the main stuff here. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice in the options menu is that they've actually made things a lot more readable. So nice job there, DICE. Obviously, this never should have had to be done in the first place, but nonetheless, it is a good change. It's much more readable whether things are actually off and on now. So if you come to display, go to HUD General, scroll down to the bottom here, you'll have a new section called HUD Scaling. So this allows you to individually scale different parts of the HUD. And they scale from usually from 1 to 100. The world info scales all the way up to 125, though the rest of them go to 100. So if I have everything down to 50 here, and I give you guys a look in game, you'll see that most of the HUD, apart from the compass at the bottom there, is way smaller. The chat is absolutely tiny. Obviously, this is going to depend on the size of your monitor, other things like that, whatever screen you're playing on. So you guys can mess around with that. I'm probably going to end up having the world info scale, which includes the minimap, on 125, just so I can have the minimap at the largest possible size. So if we head over to the minimap section here, you're going to notice a couple of new options both for the minimap and the big map. So you can change the texture opacity and the background opacity for both the minimap and the large map. So if we turn down the texture opacity here of the minimap, you'll notice that all these surrounding buildings and whatnot aren't really visible anymore. If we go and turn it back up, once again, you'll see sort of in the background here the road that I'm running along, and you know, most of it is just unnecessary clutter. It sort of stops you seeing the icons and whatnot. So if you want, you can turn that down to 50% or just hide it completely, which is what I'm going to do. For the big map, in fact, the big map has seen quite a few improvements. The first thing you'll notice is that as soon as you hit the big map up, you get this nice green circle here telling you straight away exactly where you are, because previously this has been just so hard for me to actually pinpoint where the hell am I need to find myself ASAP. This big circle closing it around you, that really helps. That's a nice addition there. So yeah, you can change the options for this one as well. If you want to go and remove the texture opacity, you can do so, and now the big map just looks like this. You'll just see the icons instead. Now this here is the big one, really. You've got different sliders here for almost everything that you see in the game world as part of the HUD. So for objective icons here, for example, I've turned the icon scale here down from 100, you can have them as high as 150. I turn mine all the way down to 50, and then I have the opacity at 50%, and this is really the important one, the zoomed opacity. So you're going to notice here, as soon as I ADS, those objective markers, they just disappear. Now, of course, you don't want absolutely everything to disappear when you ADS, but that's mainly how I've set it up. I've just gone and put everything down to 50% scale because I don't need most things to be that large. Opacity is down at 50%, and things that I need to see while I'm ADS'd, they're still at 50% as well. So friendly icons, I still want to see if a soldier is a friendly or not whilst ADSing, so that's still at 50% for that reason. But all of the unnecessary clutter, you know, friendly revive icons, you don't need to see that whilst ADSing, right? You can go ahead and just turn that off. Same for the squad icons here, they're at 50. But this is really the most important one. Enemy icons, you can actually go and turn this all the way up to 150% scale, 100% opacity in zoom, and whilst not zooming. And this is actually going to allow you to see enemies so much clearer. I'll put up a couple of examples here on screen, but you guys can see the health bars of them, and oh my god, it makes identifying enemies against friendlies so much more obvious when, you know, the red Doritos are that much bigger and the allied Doritos are so much smaller. Okay, so a couple of other things. You guys are going to need to change your mouse aiming sensitivity, at least if you play on PC. I'm not sure about controllers. There wasn't anything about this in the patch notes, but if you look on Twitter for a second here, Prolosco actually asked Florian, aka Drunks, he said he can't spot a mouse input fix. Any news in that regard? And Florian says there are changes to mouse aiming in this update. It isn't captured by the notes though, but there has been changes done to ensure that mouse sensitivity works similar to previous Battlefield games. And man, oh man, can I tell you, aiming around with the mouse, it just feels so much more natural. It feels so much better. It's hard to put into words. You guys are going to have to try it for yourselves. But what I did notice is my mouse sensitivity had changed somewhat after the patch. So before I was using a sense of 10, I've had to go all the way down to 6 now because it felt way too sensitive. So in addition to that, if you go over to the vehicle section and you're a pilot, if you scroll down for a while here, you should find both aircraft control sensitivity and helicopter control sensitivity as well. So now you can customize these independent of one another finally. And the last thing to note here is really just to go and redo all of your key bindings. Mine had all reset because they have changed a couple of things here, so just make sure you go through all these options, go through these key bindings and get everything set up the way you want it to be, like, you know, in an AI match like I've been doing before you actually hop into a game with other players. Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. Just wanted to give you a heads up if you've installed the patch or you're going to come home from work or school today and install it later on. This is what you're going to have to go through. I hope you guys found this helpful. I'm going to go and actually play some games now and let you guys know what I think of the patch overall. So if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss out on that one. We're coming up on 36,000 subs, so that will be really, really nice. I'd appreciate that massively. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.